What up, Rough Leaders? Welcome back to my channel. We're in Georgetown. This is Georgetown Technical Institute. That's Montreal, that's a tennis court. Tennis courts here at Georgetown taken over by the government, by the way, so no access, no normal access. That's the immigration department.
Attention, low battery.
What I want to show you today is this high-rise building that's being built here at Camp Street and Lamaha Street here in Georgetown, Guyana. So Camp and Lamaha is a notorious intersection because, as I showed before in a previous video, this building at the corner of Camp and Lamaha was built with embezzled funds by someone who worked with the government, and that building is still controversial. It's empty.
Distance,
Right, we're talking
4
about
miles. Duration, 57 minutes, 31 seconds. Pace, 20 minutes, 39 seconds per mile. Attention, low battery.
So we're talking about this building at the intersection, this corner. This building, I think, was built by Mahadeo. But this next building, the one next to it, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 floors. Roof garden, I suppose, is the 9th floor. So it's 8 floors with a roof garden. This building is now being built. I'm not too sure
Attention, low battery.
who's building this building, but it's here at the corner of Lamaha and Camp Street. That's Cowan Street. On the other side, that's looking back. The Revenue Authority has taken over this part of the Lamaha Street embankment. And this is, now this controversial building I'll get back to in a minute, but this new building that is now a frame, I think a completed frame, it's next to one of the Ministry of Health buildings. I think this is one of the satellite annexes of the Ministry of Health. So I'm not sure if they're related, but those of you who have some information about this building can share it. This 8-story building is now becoming the norm. In other words, to be able to build anything of size in Guyana, you actually have to go up a number of floors, and you end up going up 8 or 9 floors. Now, I don't know if that represents a limit, a structural limit, or a limit set by the ministry, what is it? The regulators, the building code regulators in Guyana. But that is what is happening. A lot of buildings are actually stopping at 8 or 9 floors. But in a recent release, the Vice President, Mr. Bart Jagdeo, has said that he's going to build a 50-story building. He's going to build a building, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's supposed to be 50 stories tall. I think Sheriff Construction, the Sheriff Group, are going to be responsible for that. A lot of people are speculating about the nature of Sheriff Group. We're going to get back to that in another video. I'm also going to get back to you about the bank of, what is it? The 2 banks I mentioned in a video recently. There are 2 banks being built at Back Road, Mandela Avenue. And somebody pointed out that the colors don't line up with Demrar Bank, which is in this vicinity. And that's a good observation. There's no label, no name on the bank yet. I'm going to tell you in a short while, again, after some investigation, whose bank that is. We know the green and yellow bank is the Citizens Bank, but that red and gray color, the only other bank that uses red in Guyana is Scotiabank. And so I thought it was Demerara Bank, but I'll clarify that in a few. But here is the pergola, right? This is gazebo. It's built by the Chinese in Guyana, so basically celebrating Chinese, current Chinese and past Chinese contribution to Guyana. And so in the next block, I think there is the Scotiabank building where they use the red color, and I'm going to get to that in a future video. But for now, I just wanted to take a look at this building that's being built here, this 8 or 9-story building, and to comment on how it's changing the skyline. In other words, this street is the one on which we saw the last tall building, right next to where Watercress Hotel used to be. This is Waterloo Street, and they're building that 9-story building. You can see in the distance, you can see the frame of that 9-story building, right? That's where the Watercress Hotel used to be. And this is another 9-story building. I'm not sure what it's going to be, whether it's going to be a government building or it's a private building. And next to it, that controversial building that was built with embezzled funds and that was attributed to Mahadio. That building is controversial because nobody wants to touch it because of the toxic past, right? So the previous vice chancellor of the University of Guyana wanted to rent it as a campus, a downtown campus for the University of Guyana, and he was completely unaware. Of course, he didn't live in Guyana. That's the problem with people coming back to Guyana to take up positions of, management and authority. They don't really know the local politics, and so they end up doing things that are considered a faux pas, or that is, it's taboo. Nobody would touch it because it's so toxic. And that's the problem with this building. It's toxic because it has been accused, in other words, people have accused the builders of using embezzled funds from the government to build it. So nobody wants to touch it because that would be tainting whatever you put down there. Would be basically supporting corruption. So it has remained empty for the last decade or so, and will continue to remain empty until they clear up the corruption behind it. But I don't know the nature of this new building. Alright, this is the multi-story high-rise, and that's changing the skyline, the nature of buildings in Georgetown.